Hello, welcome to this quick session on how to make a poster as you prepare for the MU Research Student Research Day. The first thing we want to look at is the purpose of your poster and why you're doing it. A poster is a pictorial or a graphical illustration of whatever research you've been carrying out. The idea here is that it's pictorial. It's a picture. You're putting together a visual display of the information that you have uncovered or discovered and also how you got there. And so as you think about your poster, don't just think about the research that you did, but think about how would I best present this and how can I present it in a visual format. A poster presentation is typically a little bit different to a platform presentation in terms of the poster is a one-on-one discussion often with a colleague or with another student. You're there in a room with multiple posters on the display boards, and people move from poster to poster, they move around the room, and they discuss and they talk about the things that most interest them. So there's more opportunity for engagement, there's more opportunity for a dialogue and a conversation than there is if you're doing a platform. If you're doing a platform, then that's just you at the front, typically communicating the information, and it may be the same information as is in your poster, but it's more of a one-way conversation. The audience is much more passive. There's some Q&A at the end, but there's not the same discussion. And so your poster has to allow you to discuss the research that you've done. So how do we actually create one? What are the nuts and bolts and the guidelines for doing this and doing it well? Well, we're going to use PowerPoint to create our posters. We're going to set up a PowerPoint slide either using the attached template that you'll find in the information that's emailed to you, or you can go to PowerPoint, open up a new file, go to the Design tab up here, look at Page Setup and click on Page Setup, and you get this little dialog box that opens up for you. Over here at the width, you're going to come and you're going to create 24 inches of width, 21 inches of height, because our poster ultimately is going to end up being 48 by 42. But what we do is we create a PowerPoint slide of 24 by 21, and then once you've completed everything and filled in all the information for your poster, you're going to save that file as a PDF. We will email that PDF off for printing, and they will double up the size, and our 48 by 22 or 48 by 42 poster will be completed. So the basics of your poster. As I said, the size is 48 by 42. It should be visible from 3 to 4 feet away, easily readable from 3 to 4 feet away. The font size should be about half-inch letter height, so you're looking at 16 to 18, sometimes up to 20 font, depending upon the font that you choose. But if you create the poster, put it on PowerPoint, and then display on screen as actual size, you'll be able to see the size of the font that you're going to have. The figures or the pictures that you use should be 6 by 4 photographs, if that's what you're using, or if you're going to put a chart or a graph or something like that, it should be somewhere around the 8 by 10 inch size. The individual elements of the poster, you've got a title, the author's names, the introduction, the methodology, the results, and then the discussion and the conclusion. Some people on the bottom right hand corner of their posters like to put acknowledgements. Some people like to put in 1 or 2 key references. Again, discuss that with your advisor as to what they would like to see on your poster, and then set it up accordingly. Now, we've talked about the size. If your poster is only being presented at the MU Student Research Day, then please follow the sizes that we've suggested. If, however, your poster is being presented at an external conference and they have their own criteria, then please follow those criteria, so you only have to print this once. I want to make sure that you print the appropriate size for the external audience that you're going to, and then we can accommodate different sizes at the internal research day here. So let's look at the individual sections. The title, first of all. Your title should be the exact title of the abstract that you submitted. Make it interesting, so think about the title before you submit the abstract. Your font size should be approximately 1 to 2 inches in height, and so as you set up the lettering, it should be 1 to 2 inches, preferably on the 2-inch side is better. That would make it visible from about 20 feet or so. The more visible your title is, then the more attractive it's going to be for people as they're scanning the room and looking to see what's available, and they're going to come, they're going to read your title, and then they're going to come and talk to you. You want to add in there the institution, so the name and the logo On the template that we've sent, the logo of the university is there. If you're not using the template, please get the logo of the university and put Marymount University up on there and the address. And then the author's names go underneath the title. Typically first name, middle initial, last name, typically in alphabetical order, but once again, discuss this with your advisor so that you make sure that you get the author's order and the author's names accurate to how they want to see it presented. The next section is the introduction. In the introduction, basically you present a clear, concise statement of the purpose of your poster. You want to use short statements that are easily read. No long-winded sentences that go on and on. This is not a paragraph of text. This is individual statements, typically laid out with bullet points so that you can easily identify what's being addressed and that you can quickly answer any questions, or that you can let the author or the reader know exactly what you were looking at. The methodology is the next section, and that's the basics of what you did. Talk about the design of the study, talk about the data sources that you used, talk about the equipment that you used, talk about the statistics that you were going to use. The methodology should be concise, it should be easily replicated. So the reader should be able to read through your methodology and think, oh, I could do that, and follow each step to be able to replicate your study. The next section is the results section. And this is just the facts. What did you find? Now you don't have to identify all of your results, but you should identify the key results. You want to present those results using tables or charts or graphs or pictures or some sort of visual representation if you can. Remember, a poster is a visual thing. You want your audience to be drawn into it, to look for the detail. You want to identify any outcomes or any measures that you used. Sometimes whenever you put a graph or a chart on there talking about a particular outcome, you need to put a descriptive label underneath each graphic. You might have to have a little brief description of what that graphic represents. But at the end of the day, when you look at this, if that graph doesn't actually tell part of the story, or that chart that you've included doesn't assist the story, then take it out. It's only going to be a distraction. The last thing that you're going to put together is the discussion or the conclusion. And your focus is on the conclusions. What did you find? How important is this work? What are the parallels or discrepancies with other research of this type? Is there any direction for further study? Should you continue this, or should this line of research be continued? You want to be concise. Bring it right to the point so that the reader should have no doubt as to where this sort of work should continue, should stop, what it means, and the value of it. And as I said, the last thing that some authors like to put on are some references. Typically it's a 1 or 2 primary references, no more than that. Don't put all 45 references from your research paper on here, because nobody's going to want to read them. So what does it look like? Just to give you big boxes and a big idea. Up here we would normally have the logo of the university. And on the template, that's what you'll see. Then you've got your title. Okay, about 1 to 2 inch height in terms of the font, and then underneath that will be the author's names, and then the department and the university. You're going to have your introduction or your purpose. You might put in here your research question. What is it that we're trying to uncover? What's the background? This side is the background and the question that we stated. You then move to the methodology. What did we do to actually answer our question? You might add some pictures or some graphics of the techniques that you used or the equipment that you used. And then what do we find? What are the results? So over here you can have some bullet points as to the key results. You can have some figures or some tables or some graphs as to what the key results were. And then finally in this bottom corner you're going to have your conclusions, your discussion of what you find, what you think it means. And then finally at the very bottom down here somewhere will be your references if you include them. Please, again, make sure you check with your faculty advisor as to whether or not they think they're necessary. Just some general tips. Organize your material. The poster should not be this scattered, haphazard thing. It should be an organized dissemination of information, either using columns, as I've just shown you, or working in a counterclockwise fashion, starting in the upper left-hand corner, ending down in the lower right-hand corner. You're going to make your section headings a little bit different from the body of the text. So add bold or add a color, but not too many colors. This does not want to look like a rainbow up there. You want to use colors that work well together. Use graphics, use pictures, but only, remember, only use the pictures that actually add something to your presentation. And then finally, on the presentation day itself, bring a copy of your abstract just for reference. Prepare some handouts. Some people have done that before with some other highlighted points, some key points that you just couldn't fit on the poster. But most of all, we want you to enjoy the day. We want you to enjoy the discussion, enjoy the opportunity to share the work that you have done. Because remember, for most people who come and talk to you and read your poster and ask you questions about your poster, you're an expert compared to them. They might not know all the information that is behind it that you already know. And so enjoy the opportunity just to share what you have learned. And finally, if you have any questions, please just email us at the Discover office and we'll try and help you out as best we can, or talk with your advisor and they'll know how to get in touch with us so that we can help you. We look forward to seeing you at Research Day, and all the best in preparing your poster.